Hi everybody, welcome to today's FindTheBestCarPrice.com video. Today we're going to take a look at the 2022 version of the Honda Pilot. This is the EXL trim level, and it has a sticker price of $40,285. Let's get started with our tour. The exterior color on this Pilot is crystal black. The tires are 245/50 R18, and if you're wondering what is R18, that gives you the rim size. So those are 18-inch alloy wheels, LED headlights, LED fog lights, as you can see down there on the lower portion of the bumper. And for those who are wondering, because people always ask, turn signal indicators built into the power side view mirrors. They are heated as well. Now they're not power folding, they are manually folding side view mirrors, but nonetheless, you do have that option. Of course, rear privacy glass, you're gonna have Honda sensing, all those great driving aids that you've probably come to expect from Honda. And like I said, LED lights, that's gonna be all the way around, so LED tail lights as well, and a power rear liftgate. Now, this doesn't have the motion sensor feature where you can wave your foot underneath and basically get everything to open up like I just did. Not a bad thing necessarily. Now, here's what we have as far as the rear cargo area goes. Cargo capacity is going to vary from as little as 16 cubic feet. And when you have all of the seats lowered down, you do have multiple configurations for what you can do back here. 16 cubic feet all the way up to 83.8 cubic feet. And there are some really cool features back here. Of course, you've got the mat right here. This folds out so you can cover all this area. But here's something that's interesting. Let me get this out of the way. A little hard to do one-handed, and I do apologize for that. But you can see some grass or something right here on the top of the lid right here for your storage area. But notice that you have a double-sided floor. And the cool thing about that, as you can see via the sticker right here, you can actually flip that and use it multiple ways. And the cool thing about that is that instead of having the grass get stuck on the carpet side, you've got the plastic side here that will keep that from happening. If you're hauling something maybe that has dirt in it, a plant or something like that, and you'll be in a lot better shape. And one thing that I noticed that I wanted to share, when you let the seat backs down to work on maximizing your cargo space, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Well, it's not really a problem, but one thing I noticed is that it's going to be hard for me to do this one-handed, but you want to make sure that you do this two-handed so you can lift this belt buckle out of the way, because when you bring the seat back up, well, the belt buckle might scratch against this area right here. So just a little something to think about to keep your Honda or Honda Pilot from having any unnecessary interior damage. And of course, being a power rear liftgate, you not only have the power option for opening, but also for closing, even here on the EXL trim level. And for those who might wonder, how do you maximize your cargo space or move the seats out of the way and basically use the functionality of these middle row seats? Well, you're going to see a couple of options here with the lever here and the button here. This is going to allow you to get that seat out of the way and gain access to the rear seat area. And just to kind of show you around a little bit of what's back here, at least on this particular trim level. But let's put the seat back in place. I'm going to do that one-handed. And we will show you how to lower the seats. Let's get down here so I can do this. I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not. And while it's hard to do this one-handed, you're going to pull up on this lever, and then actually you can push the seat back down. Not something I can easily do one-handed. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to hop into the rear seat area here. Now, what I've done, these middle row seats are adjustable. And while I have, well, not a ton of leg room, you can see the difference between the two seats. I moved the seat over here on my left as far forward as I can. And so obviously there are some adjustments available as far as moving the seats back and forth. But if you're an adult, you're probably going to want to sit in the middle row seat. Let the kids sit in the rear. Of course, if somebody hops out and forgets to let you out, well, that's what this button is for right here. And it does everything for you, and it makes it nice and easy to go ahead and just hop on out. And since we talked a good bit about the back seat, let's take a look at some of the features. Of course, you do have the shade right here if you wish to take advantage of that, or should I say your rear seat passengers wish to take advantage of that on both doors. And by the way, the interior is very comfortable and really pretty roomy, especially when you consider the front and middle row. We took a look at the rear seat, still a decent amount of space back there, and you can adjust that, of course. And as you can see here, you've got your climate control back here. You're gonna have tri-zone climate control. Everything, as you can see, can be controlled here on the panel. And down on the bottom down there, you've got your connectivity, a couple of USB ports. And under the hood, this Pilot is motivated by the rather peppy 3.5 liter V6, 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. And the estimated gas mileage comes in at 20 miles per gallon city, 27 out on the highway, 23 combined. And Honda says, and obviously this is going to vary depending on a multitude of situations, where you drive, how you drive, if you're driving uphill, downhill, all that kind of stuff. But Honda says you should use 4.3 gallons of gas in your Pilot per every 100 miles driven. And just so I don't forget to mention it, it is here, in case anybody wants to know, you do have a conventional size sunroof, not panoramic. But tell me down in the comments section, what do you prefer, the panoramic or the conventional? Now, being that this is not the highest trim level that Honda offers for the Pilot, I still must say there are some great features here, including seat memory. So that's always a nice feature to have. And of course, you've got a couple of different options for how you open that power rear liftgate, including the button right here. There's the button to open your fuel door for capless fuel fill, Econ mode, and of course the controls for adjusting your power side view mirrors and some of the features for your safety features, or controls, I should say, buttons for that. And right here, of course, you can flip that down and adjust the adjustable steering wheel tilt and telescopically adjustable. And just so you can see, of course, push button start. So obviously that is a nice feature to have right there. Make sure I turn that fan speed down a little bit. And just to give you a quick look around, of course, there is that standard feature that so many people fail to use, the blinker option. But I'll show you how to use it if you don't know, or if you always wondered what that is maybe on your vehicle. It's not just how you control the functionality of the headlights. When you flip it into the up position, see that arrow right there? That means your right side blinker is on. And the same thing when you flip it into the down position. See that? I flipped it into the down position right there. That means you're turning left or changing lanes to the left. What a novel idea to let people know what you're doing when you're on the road. And let's adjust the angle here just a little bit. Got your shifter paddles right here if you want to use that, shifting down and shifting up right here on the right hand side. And pretty self-explanatory, I think, for your steering wheel mounted controls. And of course, Honda's infotainment system. Some say this is a little bit outdated. I don't personally think that it is, but everybody has their opinions. But I do believe you will see changes for 2023 where this is concerned. But obviously a lot of great features. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Just kind of scroll through here a little bit so you can see what is available on the screen right there. And I like the fact that that makes it so easy here. Of course, you've got the push button shifter here with all of the typical features. You've got drive right there, the D and the S, so drive and sport. You also have multiple modes here. You have snow mode, and let me just show you real quick. If you go into snow mode, what happens? You can change that over right there. We'll go back into normal. But the main thing I wanted to do was show you the backup camera. Very high resolution. I know it's probably kind of hard to see, and that blinking you see on your screen, that just has to do with the shutter speed of my GoPro. Not sure that you can fix that on the GoPros or not, but don't worry, that is not the screen itself. Let's see if we can get this to change over a little bit here. Come on, I'm trying to change. There we go. Just to show you some of the different features here as far as what you can do and what you can see if you're backing up to a trailer or to a curb or something and you're kind of worried about what you might hit behind you. Well, there is a nice feature. And here's something else that's interesting. I'm gonna go back into drive here. Let's see, I don't know if I can get a wide enough angle here, but here's an interesting thing. I am going to, obviously you can see I'm holding the gimbal with one hand, and I'm gonna hit the ignition to shut the engine down with the other, and you probably saw it right there on the screen. It went into park automatically. So if for some reason you get in a rush and maybe don't remember to put the Pilot in park, it's gonna do it for you. And like I said, you have dual or tri-zone climate control, dual in the front, single here, or single in the rear. And of course, more connectivity here. Let's just show you what's here instead of just talking about it, but there you go. Got another USB port and a 12-volt power outlet. And here's something that's very good to do, turning that auto stop start feature off. A lot of people will say, oh, they have a beefed up starter. And even if that's the case, there's still a lot of disadvantages to that as far as the engine goes. I'm not going to go into great detail about that, but believe me, you want to turn that off. And you have your heated seats. Not going to keep that on, but for a second, just to show you what's there for the driver and passenger side. Okay, here we go on the test drive. This looks like a different test drive route. Well, it basically is, because I used a different filming location compared to what I normally do. So very quickly, we're not going to take a long time on today's test drive, but one of the things I've always enjoyed about the Pilot is the fact that it has a nice, smooth ride on pretty much any road surface you're going to drive on. Of course, if I'm saying that here in Northwest Louisiana, that says a lot, because as I like to jokingly say, although it's not as much of a joke really, but I have my own personal test track to test shocks and suspension. I just drive around in this area in Northwest Louisiana. I don't even have to pay for that. How interesting. So I can tell you that the Pilot has an exceptional ride quality, and the leather trimmed interior on this EXL is very comfortable. It's just overall a very nice vehicle to drive. Leather wrapped steering wheel is comfortable, and like I said, multiple driving modes for multiple situations. If you live in an area where it snows a lot during the winter, obviously you're going to want the all-wheel drive model, but I feel pretty confident that it's going to do a great job of getting you around in pretty much any situation. And that's just one of the big advantages. Of course, you have snow mode to help that even more so than just having all-wheel drive, but overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. Plenty of space. Like I said earlier, we talked about the fact that the rear seats may be better for the kids than the adults, but obviously you can adjust the seating position of those middle row seats to try and compensate for that a little bit. But still, a lot of great creature comforts, a lot of great storage options. One of my favorite things, we looked at that earlier in the rear cargo area, is that floor that you can reverse. Two different sides, the carpet or the plastic, depending on your situation. A real multitasker, to say the very least, and just easy to learn technology. And you know, I say this a lot, but it bears repeating because I know a lot of you are watching me for the very first time. If you're stepping out of a vehicle or planning to step out of a vehicle that doesn't have an infotainment system or any of the modern day technology that these Hondas have, this 22 Pilot has, don't be afraid of that, especially with these Hondas. It's easy to use, easy to learn, nothing to be afraid of. I know a lot of people are not exactly happy about having to learn new things, but I feel pretty confident that by the time you learn the technology, you're going to be glad you did. Have you ever had that situation in life where you forgot to say something and you think, geez, it's too late? Well, it's a good thing about these videos because I forgot to talk about the acceleration of this Pilot, which, by the way, is not sports car-like. It's not going to plant you in the seat, but it's definitely going to get you down the road with no problem. You can get up to speed with no problem. That 280 horsepower V6 under the hood is plenty for what the Pilot is. And while I can't necessarily speak to what would happen with a full load of cargo, full load of passengers, I still don't think under those conditions that the Pilot is going to struggle to get down the road. To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any other vehicle you are interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.